I'm going to try something different. I'm going to stop weighing myself. Move your body when you can. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Walking is movement. It's not necessarily exercise.
Jamie Duggan is a beacon of inspiration for individuals seeking a balanced and fulfilling lifestyle amidst the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Jamie is so dedicated to nurturing the holistic well-being of the mind, body, and spirit. As a nutritious life master coach, behavior change specialist, personal trainer, and corrective exercise specialist, Jamie brings a wealth of expertise and a decade of experience to her practice. At the core of Jamie's professional identity is her role as a passionate mom, wife, and business owner. Through her venture, Empowered Health, she offers transformative programs and unwavering support to busy professionals like you and me with a particular focus on women. I know we met in California at Ultra.
Yes.
And your energy is amazing. Your heart and desire to help others in your niche is above anybody else's. Like, you're just so free to care.
Aww.
And I love that about you. Let's talk about your path to holistic well-being. So your journey emphasizes the importance of nurturing the mind, body, and spirit, as we mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Would you mind sharing like a transformative moment in your life that led you to embrace this holistic approach to wellness?
Sure. So something that not a lot of people know about me, but I actually really did not like exercise when I was younger. Like, I really, really despised it, and I avoided it at all cost. And then as I got older, it became a means to an end. I actually started training when my first son was born because I wanted to have a job or have something that would hold me accountable to not get that mom bod. and I knew that I wouldn't do it if I didn't have to do it. And at that time I thought that, a personal trainer looked a certain way, which I've come to realize is not exactly the way it works. But so fast forward, I had struggled with eating disorders and exercising to look a certain way, be a certain weight. And I lived very much by the scale. So much so that I would eat according to the scale. I would exercise according to the scale. And I really kind of held my worth in that a lot. And it was really not a healthy thing for me. And so,
but you hear it so much. It's so like what you're saying. It resonates with so many people, because I know like so many people, they can tell you how much they weigh that morning.
Yeah.
And it's so cool because I look at you and I don't think that you've been on that same journey. So the fact that you understand what so many of us are going through is so cool. Sorry. Okay. Keep going.
No. Yeah. So that really held me captive for a number of years. And even as a fitness professional and a health professional and like helping people, I was still not living authentic to who I was. And I'm not authentic in the sense of I would preach one thing and practice another. Oh, the weight doesn't matter. Oh, this doesn't matter. But I would still live by that number on the scale. And it actually really came to a head at the beginning of the pandemic, or maybe a couple months into the pandemic, because I had been getting a lot busier with clients prior to everything shutting down, and my pants actually, they stopped fitting. And I was like, there must be something wrong with my hormones. It must be hormones. I must be getting older and things aren't working, and that's not okay. And I went to the doctor and they did all these tests and they're like, it's not your hormones. Your hormones are fine. And I was like, I can't. Lies. And so I was going through this whole trying to do fasting and trying to count my calories and doing this and doing that. And I was just like so focused on the number on the scale. And when the world came to a standstill, it was like, okay, well, you have a lot more time to kind of focus inward, like a lot of us did. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to try something different. I'm going to stop weighing myself. I'm going to stop weighing myself and I'm going to start focusing on what I do rather than the weight. And even though I had been doing all the things right by the book, on paper, I'd been exercising and eating well, drinking more than I should have been, but nothing crazy. But I was constantly in this battle, mostly in my mind. And so then when
it's all in your head.
It's all in your head, but also legitimately my pants stopped fitting. So it wasn't all in my head.
Everything else.
It was also a little in my butt, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to see what happens if I just stop focusing on that. And that was now 4 years ago. And I stopped weighing myself daily. And I actually stopped weighing myself. I haven't weighed myself in years. And I turned inward and I started to focus on the things that would move me towards a healthier being, regardless of what the scale says, because, we all know that the number on the scale is really, it's one measurement, but it's not the whole picture. And when I started to really take care of like my mental, my emotional, and my physical well-being, everything started to work so much better. And I feel so much better. And I have been able to maintain. And I don't know. I know that the number on the scale, probably if I got on the scale, would be higher than I want in my mind, but I feel good in my body. And it has taken like 4 years to actually feel like I love myself for who I am. And I'm going to continue to do the things that I know will make me healthy. But now it's like, it's a bigger reason than just the scale. So that kind of is what really started me. I had known I wanted to help people outside of just the gym, but it really came to, I had to make it about, I had to do the healing in myself first. So
it's so interesting because like you see it in like AA, right? The ones that are best at helping the others that are wanting to recover are the ones that have already been on that journey. And it sounds like you've already been on that journey.
Yeah.
And also, like, it was interesting. Also, you said a part about the scale, right? It's only one component. It's like, if I bring you an egg, is not a cake. There's so many components to the egg, and you can actually have an eggless cake. So,
right. Absolutely. There's actually, that's so funny. In my book that I wrote that's coming out in July, I have one of the chapters is on the components of health and wellness, and it's the 8 pillars of health. And I actually use that as an analogy about, trying to bake something with missing ingredients.
Oh, I love that. That really speaks true to me. That's funny that you say that too. And I love that how that correlates to your book that's coming out. Congratulations. And you're real writing the book from your heart. That's huge.
Yes, I'm really, really excited about it. It's going to be amazing.
So through that adventure, Empowered Health, and you've created Empowered Health, you aim to unlock like the wellness potential of busy professionals, especially women. What you mentioned your barriers, and I totally relate to that. But what would you say are some common barriers like the women that you visit with? What do they face? And how do you help them overcome those obstacles?
So, of course, the big one is always that everybody says they don't have enough time, but I actually don't believe that. I think that it is more that women, they lack belief in themselves. They lack their confidence that they can actually make the change. And so they make up excuses of, I don't have time. I can't do that. I've tried other things. But I really think it boils down to I'm not sure that I can make the change because anytime I have in the past, it doesn't stick around or it's too much. And another challenge that I see a lot is overcommitting to change, overcommitting to a process. And like, so I'll give you an example of a lady I was working with last week, and she said, I'm going to start walking 90 minutes a day. I said, wow, that's a lot. Do you have 90 minutes a day to walk? And she's like,
0 to 90.
yeah.
Woo!
She's like, probably not. And I said, so why don't we start with 30 minutes a day? And because, it's like we live in this black and white world where it's like, you think you either need to do nothing or you need to do everything. And the matter of fact is that the gold is living in the gray. The gold is living in the gray. That's when you can create consistency, is when you can take it from all or nothing. Okay, today I have 20 minutes. Okay, or I have 30 minutes, and creating that pattern before going all the way in, overcommitting, and then having to cut back, and then you quit or cut back, and then
because you're disappointed and you got all that stuff going in your head.
And it's too much, and you're like, I can't do this. And then all of a sudden you have this like little negative self-talk. You can't do it. You never have been able to follow through. And then you start to believe that you're not able to make those changes.
It's funny what you just said. It reminds me of something that I was going to start, and I did it for a minute and I fell off the wagon. Tony Robbins at the Unleash the Power Within, he said, just leave your house, go in one direction for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then come back.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when he was a professional soccer player, he said his coach used to have him do the same thing. They would have to run in one direction versus doing laps because they would cheat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you mean professional athletes cheat too? And he's like, yeah. So he's like, go in one direction for 15 minutes, set a timer 15 minutes, and then come back.
Right.
And I was like, oh, it's just like literally that simple.
We overcomplicate it. And that's what what I want to help people, women especially, like create, is like to make it less complicated. It's not that complicated. You can radically improve your life and your health with really small shifts.
And that's so smart, because really, if we can keep it so incredibly simple like you're doing, we can actually have the clarity. And then once it's clear, like crystal clear, I have found in other areas of my life, if it's crystal clear, I'll take massive action on it. I guess we're not even looking for massive action, just some action.
Yeah.
And sometimes just getting started is the massive action. But
absolutely. And as you take that action, you create those small wins, you build that confidence, and then you add on.
So what are some like simple, effective strategies? Like busy people like me and many of the corporate people that you talk to, executive women's busy moms doing all that. What are some simple, effective strategies busy individuals can incorporate into their daily routines that'll enhance their health and happiness? So
starting literally with the basics, like you just said, leave your house and walk 15 minutes. Take the stairs. I mean, I know it's elementary, but it is move your body when you can. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Do a wall sit in your office. Wall sits actually lower your blood pressure. So when you sit against the wall with your knees at 90 degrees, yes. So start at 30 seconds and build up to a couple minutes. When you do isometric movements, they actually lower your blood pressure. So you could do a wall sit, a plank, a few push-ups. If you can't do a push-up on the ground, start with it against the wall. Start moving your body.
Isometric. What's isometric? I'm like a measure.
Isometric is when you're static. So like doing a wall sit or doing a plank is an isometric movement. Yeah. So do like a quick 5-minute isometric routine. Wall sit, plank, And then push-ups are not isometrics, but get your body moving. And then block out time. Start with 5 minutes. You know, if Tony Robbins says walk 15 minutes, I'm going to tell you just walk 5. Walk 5 minutes
Right.
one direction, walk 5 minutes the next direction. And then once you've gotten into that habit, then add on to it. Now, another thing that I would love to recommend is that, so walking is great. Walking is movement. It's not necessarily exercise. So it's not, unless you're really deconditioned. That's something that I think is kind of a false sense of like, I went on a walk. Okay, that's great. But that's not going to actually improve your longevity and your health, you know, a lot. But what will is if you get a weighted vest and you wear the weighted vest on your walks. Amazon sells them really cheap. And what that
So
does.
why a weighted vest? Why is that? Why does that work?
So the weighted vest is going to increase your heart rate and it's going to put more resistance. So it's going to actually work on building the muscle because your body is used to carrying you around. So walking doesn't actively build muscle. But when you add weight to it, it does. And better yet, if you're walking up a hill. So it's called rucking, and it's what they do in the military to like train for missions. And it is Dr. Peter Attia talks a lot about rucking and the benefits of rucking uphill for your cardiovascular health and muscular endurance. So that's a great thing that you can add onto that walk. You can, and then, so that kind of helps with the exercise. Just get started, schedule it in and get started on it because, you know, the benefits of exercise really are, the exercise is only the very tip of the iceberg. When you start to move, you have better energy, you have better mental clarity, you have better focus, you're going to improve your work. So when somebody says they don't have time to exercise, my challenge is if you don't have time to exercise, then what do you have time for? Because when you start to exercise, your time becomes more productive.
Yeah, France, did you get that? Because we're always talking about, all right, we got to move. Because we'll sit our little booties in the chair all day and we're like, what just happened? I can't believe it's already 5:00. Like our day just flew by.
And, you know, another thing that we need to think about is the benefits and the risk of not moving. Because, you know, we want to live long and healthy lives. And it's not just the vanity, which a lot of people went, you know, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds or 15 pounds or 20 pounds. Okay, but what about the longevity? Do you want to be able to enjoy your older years? If you don't make time for your health and your exercise now, you're not going to be enjoying those later years.